Hi everybody, it's Joe Usher here. So this is a somewhat brief video on how to support teachers in using Google Earth in primary school classrooms, particularly with geography. So we're going to look at the functionalities of Google Earth, the simple things, how to create a project, and how to actually navigate the tools and functionalities of it. So I'll begin by just sharing my screen. Okay. And so just to start off with here, basically, to begin with, my work email is powered by Gmail. So I automatically have a Google account. So when I open up a new tab, once I'm logged in, as you can see, I'm logged into my Google Chrome up here in the top right corner. But once I'm logged in there, I can open up a new tab and type in Google Earth. And once that's there, I can launch Earth and it automatically logs me into my account with Google Earth. So if you have a Gmail account at all, you will have a free Google Earth account also. If you don't have a Gmail account, that's fine as well. You can set up a Google Earth account for free as well. It's all very straightforward. So just to go to Google Earth and do that yourself. Once you're into Google Earth, you'll be faced with this screen here, which shows the globe, and you can drag by left clicking and toggling your mouse around. You can drag the globe up and down, left and right, and actually look at the Earth as if it's in your hands. It's an amazing feature to have on the actual interactive whiteboard in a school. So for now, we're just going to look at the main functions. Okay, so we have a zoom here, the plus and minus button to zoom in and zoom out. So we can click on those as much as we want, or we can actually double left click to zoom down as well, and anywhere we want. So if we double left click over here or over here, it'll zoom us to particular areas. Okay, and you can drag your screen with your left click and your mouse around to get to whatever area you would like to go to. Okay. Other features to look at as well include, like, so if I'm zooming down to where I teach here in Drumcondra in North Dublin City, we can actually zoom down to look at Drumcondra here. And you'll notice some things are actually highlighted automatically: Griffith Park, DCU St. Patrick's Campus, Dominican College, etc. If I go to the menu burger item in the top left-hand corner here, the burger icon, I can go to map style. So map style allows me to toggle between different styles of maps. So I can show everything on my map, and that will show various businesses, different types of roads as well, and different types of, I suppose, companies, businesses in my local area. It can show everything. It can be a little bit discombobulating and a little bit distracting to have all of this on a map for children. So I can go with clean, which shows absolutely nothing, just literally the aerial photography, the satellite image, or exploration, which kind of gives you a little bit of both. It gives you the borders, the labels, the places, and the roads. So the main places. So it'll give you the county boundaries, the international boundaries, etc., rather than the clean version gives you none of that. So that is the one I would recommend to use, is the exploration. Okay, but you can try them out yourself and see which one you actually prefer yourself. Okay, the other thing to look at then as well is how to actually create a project, because we want to create something, either a teacher-made project, or maybe it's a collaborative thing you're making with the pupils in your class, depending on your focus, depending on your class group, depending on what you actually want to get out of your Google Earth experience. Okay, so there's many different ways you can use it. So for instance, before I get into the whole project part of it as well, what we could do if we were learning about a contrasting country or place, such as Brazil, is what I use with some of my students. We could actually, my computer's going a bit slow there for some reason. We could actually look at Rio de Janeiro, for instance. So in our 6th class textbook, we have a story about Pekka, who lives in a favela called Rochina in Rio de Janeiro. So if we were to learn about Brazil, we could look at Brazil on Google Earth, and we could look at the shape and size and scale of Brazil. We could look at the different colors and shades on the landscape. So this dark green, which would indicate the Amazon rainforest, this large river here, we can actually see from this far out. We can see these brown mountainous areas too, to give us a sense of what kind of landscape Brazil has. But we're going to just type into the search button here. If we don't know exactly where Rocinha is, we can type it in here, Rocinha, and it comes up as a suggested place, Rocinha in Rio de Janeiro. We can see it's a coastal place where it's flying us down into it. I'm just going to stop it by clicking on it and stop flying straight into it. In the top right corner, it gives me some pictures and some information from Wikipedia. Rocinha is the largest favela in Brazil. Okay, so we can zoom down and have a look at it and see whereabouts it is located. Okay, and it's on the 3D functions. There's a 2D function and a 3D function, and we can see straight away Rocinha is located nestled between two mountains here. Okay, and we could zoom down and see where Pekka actually lives. What is her life like? What is the size of the buildings, the type of buildings? They look very higgledy-piggledy, built on top of each other. We can see a lot of blue on top of the rooftops. I wonder, would children think, are they swimming pools? And it'll turn out that they're actually water towers for collecting rainwater. But you can have all these questions and you make these observations and see, do they look like big buildings or small buildings? Do they have a lot of space, a lot of garden space? And then we can actually compare that, I suppose, to, before we look into it in any more detail, to another area like Leblon in Rio de Janeiro also. And you can see the grid-like features, the tree-lined boulevards, to see the differences between a well-planned suburban area in Rio and then a favela. And we can drop down our yellow explorer and to see there's only one single road going through Rocinha. And we can have a little look and see what the streetscape is like. Okay, so we could look at the buildings, the kind of materials that's being used, the kinds of shops, the transport. There's lots of motorbikes. It looks like it's very sunny weather. We could take a little, there's a lot of people traveling on motorbikes. We could see the kind of clothes people are wearing, shorts and t-shirts. So it must be very hot. There's also a lot of cables, like, so it's very kind of higgledy-piggledy, again, built in the nature of a favela where it would be built before infrastructure is actually put in. But we can make all these observations and we can compare that to some other part of Rio or of Brazil, or even compare it with our own hometowns as well. So that's just a little idea of something you can actually do with Google Earth. But to move back now to what we were talking about originally, is to create a project then, so for using with your class. Okay, so simple, I'm going to go as simple as possible. We're going to do a project on our school grounds. Okay, so if I was to do, or even in our local area, so if I was to click on the top left burger item again, I click on projects and new project, and I'm going to create a new project in Google Drive, and my new project is going to be called a YouTube demonstration. Okay, but we can call it whatever we want. If we wanted to call, if we were mapping out the main employment areas in our local area, we could have that. So jobs in our locality could be something we were mapping out, or recreational facilities, etc. So my local area here of Oldcastle in County Meath. So we're going to look at that and see what we could do. So it's a brand new project. It's a brand new layer of a map that only I have access to right now. So the first thing I can do is I can actually label our school, our primary school, the Gilson National School here. I can add a place mark by clicking on this little pin item here, and I can click and add our school. So type that in and save it. To edit that place mark, I click on this pencil item here, and I can add a picture or an image if I have one, or even a video. But I don't have an image of the school right now on my laptop, but I can click on Google Image and search for the Gilson National School, and straight away I can get an image of the front door, the front of the building, and add that. So when people click on this, they'll see that it will pop up our school in the top right corner here. And then other things we could do, we could map out, you know, like I said, the sports clubs, the facilities, the major employment centers, the whatever we want, whatever the focus of our lessons are in geography. But I could also map, just say, for instance, so if I want to map the library here, the Oldcastle Library, I could click it there and call it Oldcastle Library. And if we were, for instance, and I can also then again add an image, so Oldcastle Library. And we could add an image of the inside of the library here if you wanted to. So then I can also, another function I can do is I can actually add routes in. So we could actually map the route of our journey from our school to the local library if we were taking the children down there, for instance. So how would we get there? So a big part of geography is giving and describing using directional language. So if we leave the school, we walk out the front gate, we turn right or we turn northwest, for instance, we go up Church Street, up to the top of the town, and we go left again at the top of the town through the square or the diamond and down Oliver Plunkett Street, past the fire station, past the pharmacy, down as far as past the credit union and past the cinema, as far as the library. And that could be route from school to library. So there are lots of different options for this. I can then edit this again. I could actually change the colors or the thickness of it. I can actually add the actual distance to it as well in terms of meters or kilometers if I want. We can actually measure that. And I can even add, again, pictures, videos, whatever we have. So if we had pictures of our journey from the school to the library or a video of it even, I can add that to my Google Earth project as well. So you can see there's lots of potential in this for it. So we could actually pin out the major features of our local town. We can actually also map out areas within it. So we could actually map out residential areas, for instance, like a local housing estate, and color that in a different color as well. So for instance, you could call that whatever, that could be Loughcrew View. Now this is not a correct housing estate area, but if I wanted to, again, and I can edit this again, and we could color in all, if we do a land use map of our local area, color that all in red, and we can change the opacity of it as well by making it more or less opaque. So when it is clicked on, then we can see how our land is used in the town. So where the shops are, where the residential areas are, like the estates, and that we can actually color code them and create a digital land use map. Okay, so they're all different examples there. A basic one we've done here in our local area in Drumcondra and our St. Pat's campus DCU with students is we've looked at a journey of a mascot around our school grounds. And we've looked at bringing our mascot, Harry Hedgehog, around 4 different locations on our school grounds. And as you can see here, when I click present, you'll be able to see the digital image pop up. And the first place we went to was Drishow Woods, and here's Harry in the tree. The second place was the school garden, and it flies me around to the different areas on campus. The third place was our sports field, and the fourth place was our quad, and he's here in the fountain area. But if I want to add another place, I might want to add a place on the street here on Drumcondra Road. So I can actually click on the place mark and add it here and click 5 Drumcondra Road. Save it. And then I can edit it by clicking on the pencil feature again and add a picture. And this time I actually have a picture on my laptop here. So I will just go to that folder, click on Harry Hedgehog. So he's sweeping the street here with the county council. So when you click on that, we have a picture of Harry, our mascot, here sweeping the street, as you can see. Okay. And if I want to actually edit this again to make it show a specific part of the street, I can zoom down further and I can actually drag it and bring it down and click capture this view and it will save it. I could even capture the view if I wanted to by making the view street level. So instead of actually having the view of aerial from bird's eye perspective, I could actually capture the view here. And click on capture this view, and that's it. And I go back to my actual presentation. So when we're over in the quad and we move across the Drumcondra Road, we'll actually land up on the street and we can see Harry sweeping the street here. Okay, so there's lots of different functions for it, as you can see here with Google Earth as well. Another project we would have done is we would have got students to actually map the geography of our food. So bringing in a bag of shopping with various food items and getting them to actually you read the labels, figure out where they're from. So butternut squash from Portugal, for instance, adding these as pins and looking at the distance traveled. So 1,640 kilometers to Ireland from Portugal equates to 100 kg of carbon as well. So the emissions associated with that, getting them to think about the sustainability of their food, but also the global connections we have to our food. So we have grapes from Chile, we have blueberries from Morocco. We have an awful lot of global connections just from our basic weekly shop, and just to link that to sustainability there as well. So there's lots of different focuses or foci and lenses you can take with your mapping, and I suppose the possibilities are endless in terms of that. So just to kind of show you those elements as well. Another thing you might want to look at is, like I can't stress this enough, is a 3D function for actually really figuring it out. And it only works in, I suppose, a lot of built up areas. It doesn't work in every single area, the 3D function, but the Street View one does. So if I click on 3D function here, so if we're looking at our Dublin ports, if we were looking at the journey of food products, I suppose, from different countries into Ireland, where they'd first be shipped into Dublin port, we could actually zoom down and try and identify some of the features of the port. So we can see all these storage containers here for like maybe gas or oil, etc. We can see loading cranes for unloading and loading cargo and shipping containers onto lorries. We can see various lorries along here and lots here, all shipping containers and lorries all parked up. So if we wanted to see how these cranes look like in more detail, we can click on the 3D function and we can see the size of them, and they look enormous, and compare them to the buildings around them or the trucks. We could actually drop down our Street View Explorer and have a look and see what we see in terms of, again, trucks, shipping containers. Here's the cranes in the background. So we have big stacks of cargo shipping containers, and we've cargo trucks ready to take these containers around the country. Okay, so for loading and unloading, there's loads of explorations you can actually do with children using your geographical investigation skills to actually investigate various elements of geography using this tool. So that's basically the nuts and bolts of it in terms of actually the functions of the click in, the zoom in, the adding place marks and adding routes and adding different shapes and doing land use maps, etc., adding pictures, adding videos, and also creating projects within that. So I never actually showed you, but you can actually add within that. If I save a place mark, I can actually add a video too. So you can actually choose to link a YouTube video that you think would be useful. So you can get children to actually go and investigate on their own laptops, on their own devices. Can they actually click on various pins or place marks you have prepared for a distant place or a contrasting place? And can they actually watch the video that's associated with that? For instance, like the pasta production we looked at in our food project. So how was actually pasta made was one of the things that we looked at when you clicked on where the pasta came from. And they can do that. And the last thing to show you just how to share your project with other people then is, if I want to share, if my project is to be shared with people in my class, with children in my class, I might have it for anyone with the link can view the project, or I might say anyone with the link can edit it if I want them to actually edit it and add their own place marks too. So that's it in a nutshell. I hope that it's somewhat useful to you. Please let me know if you have any questions. Otherwise, I hope this was a helpful video.